with you on that. I love talking about the hood superstar.
Let's talk
the
about
new age AI.
I respect.
You have thoughts.
I have thoughts.
Oh, well, go for it.
So, Damian Lillard is an outstanding basketball player.
Yeah.
I understood a certain point of what he was talking about as far as the game changing and he may not. And someone took a spin on it. That made some sense when they talk about the culture of the league.
Right.
But I don't entirely agree with Damian Lillard.
Okay.
I think that Damian Lillard does not like that he's criticized for his inability to win. And I think that was, let's say, 60% of how he felt. That's being generous. And I think that, and I don't agree with it. I think that Damian Lillard plays in a small market league, small market team. And he has had decent teams. But Damian Lillard in a small market team has chosen to get his money. That's his prerogative. But in a small market team, if you taking all the money, you ain't leaving much for the rest of this people, for the teams. And ain't nobody finna come to Portland for crumbs. You can get good quality role players if you got enough capital. But if Dame Lillard is making $40 to $60 million a year, despite how good or bad that team is, ain't nobody coming to Portland because they can't pay nobody. And I think because he got his money, which is his prerogative, he get his money, but he ain't winning because they can't surround him with anybody. It doesn't matter if Chauncey Billups is coaching or whoever is coaching. If you don't have the talent in the West to do it, you not finna win. And I think that when people like, oh, well, he's loyal. Yeah, but as a leader, I'm not looking at loyalty. I'm looking at leadership. You got to be a good leader. And a lot of leaders sacrifice. All the best have sacrificed. And that means sacrificing that money. KD sacrificed when he was in Golden State to keep Andre Iguodala. Okay. Steph Curry, I just watched the podcast today. I had to go back. And they talked about Steph Curry when he signed the 4-year, $44 million.
Yeah, the ankle deal.
The ankle deal.
Yeah, the 11 a year for 4 years.
Right.
Yeah.
They
allowed the dynasty.
Right. Okay. They talked about how he left money on the table.
Yeah.
That money that he did because he bet on himself.
Yeah.
That things would get better. That's
why he signed a 580. Not 580 because they didn't want to offer it because of his knees or his ankles.
His ankles. That was a good deal. They said at that point. They said a lot of people signed that deal. 4-year, $44 million, whatever the case may be.
More like second tier. Like he wasn't a top tier.
He wasn't top tier.
It was good for his.
It was good, but he left money on the table and he bet on himself with that in conjunction with Under Armour. He was like, "This is more money than my father made, and the team gonna be all right. The team, I'm leaving money on the table." That allowed Golden State to sign Andre Iguodala. Yeah. That allowed them to keep Draymond and Clay
on max salaries.
Yeah. So with that being said, he made that sacrifice to do that, and that allowed. And then what he did, he bet on himself.
And the one sneaky thing that's underrated, Draymond's max wasn't as high as a lot of people's max could have been because he was second round to come down to Michigan State. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
And so that allowed them. He bet on himself. He became a 2-time MVP in that time frame. They brought in Kevin. And what Golden State did, the first time the Supermax came out, they signed him. They made sure he got his money. And they started paying luxury tax, whatever you wanted. They depleted the team. I don't think they were paying luxury tax then. But people also, when you bet on yourself, you got to understand what Steph did for Golden State. He ain't just take their money. He upped their value. They were worth 40 million, 400 million. They're now worth what? More than
they bought it. Well, Lakers bought it.
Yeah, they're worth 400 million. Mm. They're now worth, I think, 4.2 billion.
And if they're sold for probably 8 to 10.
Right.
Yeah.
They're the most. They overcame the Lakers and the New York Knicks as far as value in the NBA, as far as a franchise. He built everything. Golden State is Steph Curry. Again, it goes back to sacrifice and leadership. I think that the criticism toward Damian Lillard is warranted because, like I said, he chose money over chips. He wants to be like, oh, I love the game. Okay, you love the game. Say that. Say, I want my money. But when they look at you, who's supposed to be a top 75 player, and you ain't accomplished a doggone thing but a 3-point.
Don't tell me you don't like that.
Huh?
You don't like that?
Hey, man, we can get into it. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, because I got a few thoughts before we go to that.
But I'm speaking of, he's a top 75, but he ain't accomplished nothing but a couple clutch shots and got bounced the next round out. He just won the 3-point championship, as he should, as a 3-point specialist. Man. But you can't get mad when people looking at you like you ain't winning, but everybody got your name. And
I'm gonna send you a clip from this lady Natalie that works on Brother from Another, because you're giving me because she's a Warriors fan, and she was she felt so disrespected that people were comparing Damian Lillard's 3-point ability and putting him in the same arena with Steph, and she lost her mind. The only other time I saw her lose her mind was when she was talking about, if I got to hear it one more time that KD's toe was on that line. And that's why I'm going to send you that clip. But let me just defend Dame Lillard for a sec. Since you went ahead and
I did a long soliloquy.
You went ahead and ethered.
I did.
Mr. Lillard.
I'm willing
let me
to
defend you, Mr. Lillard, by saying I think his comments about the ring culture and how things have changed, I think that's more of what he thought in the beginning of his career. This is what I mean. Before he took the money and all that stuff, he wanted to come into the league that he watched where Kobe and one other person, was enough. He wanted to come in and, I got my team, my squad, let's get it. When that didn't become a reality, and people was just more into let's get more people. He didn't follow the trend because he's stubborn. That's where I think he's coming from when he's saying that's ruined this, that's ruined that. I don't think he cares about the criticism. I think he cares about the competitive edge. This is a dude that went to Weber State, like some no-name college, and got it out the mud type. He a real team type dude. And I think that when you say he took the money, I think he took the money after there was evidence to the fact that what else was we gonna do with this money? Like he got his money. He had CJ on his side, but they didn't make the. They needed a 3. They needed a 3 for years. They needed they had Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, and then they had Nurk for a few years. Yeah. They were solid at the 4. And all they needed, they tried Mo Harkless. They tried so many different, you just needed a knockdown shooter in the corner. And they just wouldn't do it. And it's not like he's done nothing. He's going to the conference championship. He's done more than some MVPs in this league have done.
Hey, I'm not going to argue with you.
While Jokic did go to a conference finals, he's done about as much as some MVPs have done. Let's just say that.
I respect him as a player. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying, but I'm just saying, like, okay, Damian isn't an MVP. No. We can get on Joker and say that he should not be a 2-time MVP and he shouldn't even be close to being a 3-time. Them numbers, we're gonna talk about culture. I'm sick of these statistics.
Now let's just go ahead and set this up. Let's just go ahead and set this up because I already know where you're going. We're about to start talking about the MVP freaking.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Because
I'm sick of these numbers.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm pulling.
I'm sick of these numbers determining the MVP.
So deceitful because Jokic can't defend me on my couch.
Right.
He can't. I've watched people. Since he been getting all of this buzz for being the 3rd-time MVP potential,
Joel been smashing that man every year,
running through him like chili, just running through Jokic.
But because he could get a triple-double, everybody want to give him the goddamn.
But now the triple-double's amazing.
Yeah, when Russ was doing it, you gave Russ 1,
You gave Joker a Russell MVP already.
Yeah.
The doing more with less bull crap, right? When he got the 7th or 8th seed and he still won the MVP.
Right.
Just like Russ, right?
Yeah.
He did the same thing as Russ. You already gave him that one. You don't get to give him 3.
Right. And you kept giving it to him.
Why do you want to do this 3 thing so bad?
And this is my thing about the MVP. Because they, like we've said, they move the goalposts every year.
Every year
they move the goal. To me, the MVP is without a doubt the guy who's performing the best and dominating. You know what I'm saying? He's unstoppable. And when you got 2, okay, the first year Steph won the MVP. You know why they gave it to Steph instead of Chris Paul? Because I believe Chris Paul was number 2. Because they went head up and Steph smashed his head in. Well, that was the game where Chris fell back.
Yeah, I remember that.
That because the MVP, I remember it was a commercial talking about the MVP race and how close it was. And then Golden State went to LA and Steph Curry made him fall and won the game. And then on top of that, I think he went back and did some ridiculous move on 3 of their defenders and scored a 3, you know what I'm saying? And waxed them boys. You know, Joel last year and this year have waxed freaking Jokic. And yet now he's just not been, he should have won MVP last year. Let's just get that out the way. He should have won last year. And now they have no choice. If they give Jokic the MVP is tainted.
MVP been tainted. I've been saying this since Dwight Howard was getting robbed by the MVPs in Orlando. I'm like, this is all narrative based.
Yeah, it's all narrative.
This has no.
I mean,
no merit
look at what's
actually happening.
Yeah, look at it's
so
all.
If you want to say narrative. More than less, like if someone can name me anybody besides Hedo Turkoglu and Jameer Nelson from the Magic teams, that wasn't a Magic fan,
and they went to the finals.
I'd gladly sign over my savings account.
Yeah, and they went to the finals. You know what I'm saying? So. Yes, Dwight Howard got robbed. Kobe got robbed a few times.
Oh, Kobe, yeah.
You can't tell me how this man got. Yeah, at least 2.
At least 2.
This man was the best player in the league by far, at least for a few years, and he only got 1. That's because they kept giving him to LeBron James off the expectation of what he was going to do and not what he was actually doing.
So, I ain't gonna lie, the LeBron MVP years was kind of legit.
A couple of them was. His ones that he got when he was in Miami were legit. The ones that he got before, I don't think he should have got.
That was that more with less bull.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. And I think that one should have went to Kobe because Kobe was waxing everybody.
Yeah, that's when Kobe was on his own.
Yeah.
No, wait. He had Powell. He got Powell in 09?
Yeah, something like that. He got Powell in 09. But he was okay. That's
so
when he was scoring like 71.
09, right?
I don't know.
I think Bron started winning MVPs like 08. No, 08. And then Derrick Rose.
Won. But that's when they was in Miami.
LeBron got a couple more.
He got one while he was in Cleveland, though.
Oh, yeah, he did. I remember that.
Because he's a 4-time MVP.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the second year in Miami, LeBron was an animal. I don't know what he was on. That's the most respect I ever had for a man ever playing basketball next to Michael Jordan.
Hey,
that man was whooping everybody's tail. It didn't matter.
I was rooting against this dude. I knew.
I was too.
I knew it was over every game.
Yeah.
I tried to fool myself that mixtape was gonna work. You couldn't tell me J.R. Smith in the game wasn't gonna pull through. He might suffered it though. Well, I was pulling for the Pacers. Well, I was like Paul George.
Yeah.
I was pulling for everybody.
I was too.
Knocking them down.
And they had the talent.
Knocking them down.
And the Pacers had the talent.
I don't think they had the talent. They had the scheme.
They had the scheme. And it was working for a little bit, but then they started. But that goes to how the game is.
Score. Paul George is still not as consistent scorer as he needs to be to win a title.
That's true.
And it was.
And that's the thing. And that's why, despite Kendrick Perkins begging on the Clippers every single year, they will not win a championship because Paul George Paul George would not show up in clutch times. Kawhi Leonard will, but Kawhi can't.
MVP.
Yeah. Kawhi Leonard would not. Kawhi Leonard will show up.
Hey, no, he got a new one now. He podcast P.
So
podcast.
As far as the MVP concerned,
get your girl on.
I'll
come talk with you in LA. You just gotta pay for the ticket.
As far as the MVP concerned, Joel is the shoe in, and I think it shouldn't even be a debate. I think
no Giannis.
Nah.
Okay.
Giannis been out too long. Giannis been in and out. And to me, you have to be consistently playing. That's why they're coming up with the games that you got to play and things like that in order to be MVP. Giannis, nah, he hasn't had the season that he normally has, so I'm not going to give it to him. He's playing excellent as he always pretty much does. I think Giannis is low key getting better every year, but he's not in the MVP conversation. If you want to put people in the MVP conversation, you got to look at these teams that were sleepers. I'm surprised Sabonis isn't in the MVP conversation.
I'm not surprised. He got Dwight Howard vibes to me. Somebody who's gonna put up numbers in a big fish in a small market situation is not gonna get the respect he deserves. But they barely giving this dude All-Star nods.
Yeah, and that's not fair because their team is excellent.
He's number 2 in the West, and I love De'Aaron Fox, but you take Sabonis off that team.
Sabonis is the difference maker on that team.
You know what I'm saying?
That's why it was such a big pickup.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, people was like, oh my God, y'all traded Halliburton. I'm like, yeah, I don't like the fact they traded Halliburton because I feel like he's the calm in the storm, like type point guard. And De'Aaron Fox is a little wild at times, but he's controlled that this year. But I'm like, y'all not understand what he getting. I went crazy on draft night when we drafted Sabonis and immediately traded him.
They didn't know what it was.
I was just like, wait.
That's what the Magic.
I'm not a player evaluator by ADBs, by title.
That's what the
Magic. But I played the game my whole life. I've been watching the NBA since I could breathe. I'm watching this dude pre-draft stuff like, oh damn, I hope he slide us because I know how we always mess up and we'll get the 6th spot instead of in the top 5. We'll end up right. Hopefully we get this dude Sabonis. And lo and behold, we picked this dude. I'm like, oh my God. Now we get to trade Vucevic. Oh, it's about to be a wrap.
I got rid of
sent this dude
to the Pacers.
No, they sent this dude to OKC for Serge Ibaka. We sent him and Victor Oladipo out there for Serge Ibaka.
Oh my God!
It was some stupid. Oh my God!
Serge Ibaka wasn't Ibaka no more.
They thought he was.
He was way past his prime.
They thought he was, bro. This is when he was still in his prime. He had added a 3-point shot, sir.
That slow behind shot.
Oh my God, bro! You don't need to remind me. I saw it live.
That shot take 15 minutes to let off.
That boy came to Orlando to die like retirement, like old people. He was like a snowbird that came to Florida to retire. And then we shipped him to to Toronto, and he won a title.
He won a title because of Kawhi.
Because of Kawhi.
Well, because Golden State, everybody got hurt. Everybody was hurt on
everybody.
Golden State.
I'm sitting here looking at Jokic's numbers, like year by year, whatever. And don't get me wrong, these are impressive numbers.
Yeah, exactly. But
this is numbers. I'm watching because I'm trying to get away from a lot of traditional. I've been telling you this for like a year or so now. Traditional sports media, because I don't like the way they cover it. They don't really cover enough of the game. They rarely get into like analyzing what happens. Yeah, they talk about the drama. Yeah. No. I don't care about how Russell Westbrook is a quote unquote cancer to your organization. I don't give a shit. Yeah. He's a Hall of Famer. But I was watching Boogie Cousins and Rachel Nichols. Okay. Because Rachel Nichols has a thing she's doing on Showtime with Matt Barnes and them. She did a thing with Boogie Cousins yesterday. Boogie said they should come up with an MVP committee, the same set of voters who vote on the MVP every year, instead of having these writers who get filtered in throughout time every year, who had that same control. Have one committee, and that committee be held accountable for what they do, type stuff. I'm with that.
But see, that's the thing. Nobody's held accountable anymore.
No. MVP is just narrative based.
Yeah, that's narrative based. There is no holding anybody accountable anymore. You know what I'm saying? And that's crazy. Like Klay Thompson didn't get a max deal because he didn't get, you know what I'm saying, who they gave it to.
13 all NBA.
Yeah, he didn't get 13. He didn't get 13. This man was a champion, breaking records all year. And he was low-key probably the best two-way player in the game that year. And they didn't give it to him. You know, and...
Okay, so wait. All-NBA is...
If you don't make All-NBA...
Okay, it's 6 guard spots.
Yeah.
Who are the 5 ahead of Klay? Steph, Dame, Chris, James.
They gave it to somebody.
Kai.
I don't know who they gave it to. They gave it to a young cat, I think.
Oh God!
They gave it to Kemba.
Wow, Kemba Walker was All NBA in 2019.
Yep, they gave it to Kemba.
No freaking way.
And that's what cost Klay Thompson his max contract.
No freaking way.
And Kemba was barely playing, I think, at that point.
They gave Kemba Walker All NBA.
Mm-hmm. I think that's what cost him.
Wow. This needs to be one of those pitches. Which one of these faces doesn't belong?
They gave it to Kemba because Kyrie played good. He just got hurt at the end of the season. Dame went to the conference finals. Dame went to the conference finals, so they had to give it to Dame. Russ was average. Russ was being Russ, but they gave it to Kemba.
Holy crap. And what did Kemba even average that? That is insane to me. Kemba Walker.
That's what they did.
I'm sorry, Kemba. I know you're a great player in your own right, but
yeah, they screwed my boy out.
It's Klay Thompson.
Yeah. So that would cost them. And and a lot of people were upset about that because they was like, how do you not get this man paid? At the very least. Which
that's why you shouldn't have reporters in charge of all NBA. Like this stuff, you got stuff in people's contract that's tied to stuff that's voted on by reporters who will be traveling and flying and catching some games, not all of them.
Right. And that, like you said, that's what happens when they only watch the highlights. They're watching highlights. And then, oh, well, this is what I see. Instead of, you got to watch the whole game to see what's really going on in these games so you can get an unbiased thing to say. I can watch Golden State's whole game and dictate what caused them to lose, what didn't, you know what I'm saying? Whether it was lack of effort and all this stuff. I can tell you right now, Golden State don't play on the road. You can look at the team and you can visibly see that they don't play on the road.
They better learn.
You know what I'm saying? You can tell body language, all of that. You know who plays? Steph and Dante and Looney. That's it. Dre be playing. The only time Dre plays is when he got the ball in his hands. If Jordan Poole ain't starting the game, you can count Jordan Poole out the game.
Yeah, that boy don't like that bench.
He don't like the bench.
No.
And let me tell you something. If there was somebody that you had to get rid of, he would be it this season.
Nah, I'll be down.
Because they thought that they and this is
y'all should have did it last offseason.
We should have. But this is the thing. That plug-in, I think they thought that the plug and play would work, but it doesn't work for Jordan.
And y'all gonna lose Draymond now, so you better stick with him.
Well, we got Kuminga, and I think that's what they're betting on.
Yeah, so
we betting on Kuminga.
Stay with him now, because y'all are losing Draymond.
Yeah, Draymond gone.
Yeah, he gone.
So, but I think that if we're expected to make anything of Steph's last year's, because I have an opinion on that. That
he'd be 35 this year.
Yeah, Steph is already 30. He just turned 35.
Ooh.
So I think that if we're gonna make
in high school soon.
Yeah, I think that I think that if we're gonna make anything of Steph last year, they have to make some moves. And I think one of those moves is trading Jordan Poole for a solid 4.
I'm gonna be honest. If that was the move, honestly, you should have been packaged for Kevin Durant.
I think that they were what they did. They did talk to Kevin Durant.
Yeah, but they should have pulled the trigger.
I don't think Kevin wanted to come back, and they weren't gonna make him come back. You know what I mean? They definitely did make the call. I've read the reports that they definitely made the call because they put all their stuff on hold.
I would love to. I know KD would never say. I would love to know what was broached with KD about this, because
KD probably had a better plan, and I think he always wanted to go to Phoenix
after the championship. Yeah,
because that's right. We won the championship
after the championship,
and he was probably like, I gotta win one without him. I gotta get one. And the only crux that I see with KD winning the championship this year is KD would have to be, which I think he's going to be. He's going to be playing out of his mind because Devin Booker going to fold in a couple of them games.
Coming for books.
I'm sorry, but I'm only going off what I seen.
Oh no!
And you saw what he did with Luka.
I know.
Devin Booker talk trash to people, and he don't back it up.
He was the dude that talked the trash, but now he got the big brother that he can look over the shoulder and talk the trash.
I get
you
that.
know?
But still, you gotta show up because KD can't do it by himself.
You just give us 15 to 20 and we'll do the rest.
I'm Kevin Durant. You know who I am. Y'all know who I am.
That's what I'm saying. He might not be able to do that. Because he takes a lot of shots.
He do. He like the other
and they gave up and they need him because they gave up the defense.
Mikal.
They gave up a lot to get KD. So you don't have that defensive stop where we can get more possessions anymore. Mm-hmm. You gotta score. You gotta score. And if you throwing up bricks because somebody done got in your head, like Clay did the other night and all that, Clay got you back the other night. You know what I'm saying? You got him the first game, but he got you back the next time. You got to, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, it's all camaraderie. Y'all love each other. But in the playoffs, it ain't going to be that way.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
None of that.
You and Clay going to be barking at each other for real.
It's going to count.
And if you go down to a game 6, I'm firm believe that game 6 Clay going to show up this year.
Oh, game 6 Clay.
He back. He back. Last year was a little, he showed up in one series, didn't in the Boston series. But anytime before that, Clay's a problem. And he's shown that I'm back now. I'm feeling good. Now, he played trash the other night against Clippers, but everybody did apparently, except Steph. Because Steph was just out of his mind.
That is correct.
But the playoffs is a different animal, and Book has to score. And if he's having an off night, you, like you said, Golden State only got to win one.
Right.
You only got to win one to get home court advantage.
That's all you got to do.
And if they can get you one, that means you got to go back to them and get you one.
That is a fact.
And that ain't easy to do.
No, not in the slightest. Not even a little bit.
Mm-hmm. So that's the thing. And that's why I give Golden State a lot of hope, because they're capable. But will they? But I think we got to Golden State got to make they got to make some moves in the offseason. This is back to what I think this is what's going to happen in Steph's later years. I think that Dre's going to leave. Clay's going to retire.
Woo!
I think Clay's going to retire.
Big talk.
But this is the thing. If we don't win 5 before Steph retires, Steph is going to go to Charlotte. Yeah, he's going to go to Charlotte. And that's going to be a problem for the league. Because he's going to go to Charlotte, and some people are going to go to Charlotte with him. Who? We don't know. But can you imagine Steph Curry and LaMelo Ball in that backcourt?
I can imagine it. I wanted it, but y'all was telling me y'all needed a big. And I'm telling you, just get it through the ball. Y'all was saying y'all needed a big when y'all drafted Steph Curry because you had a Monte Ellis. I'm saying the same thing represented itself. Take the guard. He's there. He's staring at you. And y'all took Wiseman.
We took Wiseman.
Oh, man.
We took Wiseman. But he just didn't pan out.
He didn't. And you swing and miss. Sometimes you can't be that great all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just playing around.
You know, and they tried. They tried
to add the big that y'all always needed.
Yeah, and I think we just need to go get somebody else.
Y'all should never let JaVale McGee go. But that's my opinion.
He wanted to leave though.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He wanted to go to the LA.
Oh, okay.
But I think we could have gotten somebody like a what's the boy? Clint. I've always been a firm believer Clint Capella would work great on that team.
Oh my God, yeah, even at disadvantage age.
I think that Clint Capella. I think we should have gone after him at some point, even if we needed to trade somebody to get him, and that would be perfect. Trae Young ready to leave. You know what I'm saying?
They're ready for Trae Young to leave.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So we could package something. Jordan Poole could, you know what I'm saying? We can package something, not necessarily get Trae, but
get John Collins.
We probably could get Trae.
Y'all losing Draymond, get John Collins.
You know what I'm saying? We could package something to get a decent guy on the block to get us alley hoops and somebody who can get us rebounds. You know what I'm saying? But again, I think Steph going to Charlotte. I think he's gonna take somebody with him.
The dirty little thing that I'm talking about. I feel like y'all gonna trade Jordan Poole for Bam Adebayo.
That'll work.
That'll work. That's just been.
But I don't know if he will.
I have several thoughts.
I don't know if he
leads me to saying what I was gonna say.
Okay, go ahead.
About this. The next podcast that I'm gonna be doing is gonna be all the teams that have one move to make. So, for instance, I'm gonna give you a little spoiler. When we talk about the Nuggets, my main thing is the one trade away. If you put Pascal Siakam in place of Michael Porter Jr. on the Nuggets, they're scary.
That's unfair.
Thank you. That's the whole premise of the podcast. Teams that are one move away, that they either won't have the balls to make it or they can't make it, and subsequently what they're going to do to draft to get that need fulfilled. Mm-hmm. But that's pretty much what I want to do next time. Okay. So that's a little preview for y'all. Okay. As I go ahead and let him in on that now. But that's the next one. So I don't want to make this thing too long for everybody. We got a lot of good Golden State Warriors talk, a lot of Damian Lillard talk, a lot of MVP talk. We're going to get together real soon. We're going to get the whole game together and do a whole NBA roundup, especially before the playoffs gets here, because there's a whole lot of things that need to be discussed. KD, if healthy, he's in that category. I hate that you have to say if healthy when you say his name, but it is what it is. Hey, I mean, Steph there too. Yeah. They're getting old, man. They're getting old.
See, LeBron ain't even playing.
LeBron is still in a hyperbaric chamber as we speak, loading. But anyway, I thank y'all for joining us. Once again, this is Ja Ron making this inaugural appearance. This is episode 4 of Heart of Sports. Keep watching, keep sharing, keep liking, and keep subscribing. I'll let y'all later.